Speaking of Manchester City, there's a story today that they may come back in for Cole Palmer, and it may cost them somewhere close to £150 million to bring him in. One, is he worth it? That's the first question. Henry, is he worth £150 million for Man City to buy him back?
Yeah, I think he's the most valuable player in the Premier League right now. I think he starts with practically any team in the world. I think he's not afraid of the big occasion. Should
More
Chelsea
valuable than Rodri? Henry?
I knew an Arsenal fan would have something.
What does my team have to do with this, Callum?
I agree. I agree with Kunle, by the way.
I knew the Tottenham fan would have something to say as well.
Rodri's the best DM in the world. Like there's no debate. However, Cole Palmer is younger, has more time on his contract remaining than Rodri does. And the form he's in the last year is absolutely ridiculous. Now Rodri's got an injury. We don't know what he's going to be like when he comes back. It took Van Dijk a year to get back to that level. Rodri may come and then...
Actually, Henry, it didn't. Van Dijk, when he came back, was exceptional for the year. It was the following year.
Yeah, it's right. The following year, he dipped off where Perisic spun him. But Cole Palmer...
that was uncool.
But I don't think Chelsea will sell him. I think he's the main guy around their project. They've pinned him down to, another 9-year deal. I don't think he will leave. But I think if City... They'd have to sell. If he joins City, Foden's got to leave, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to. £150 million. That's going to be a huge chunk of their budget. And what happens with Foden? That's my question. If Palmer goes there, he's in that 10. So we're going to put Foden back out on the left again?
Yeah, but do you think if they sign Palmer, they're going to care about what happens to Foden?
Because he's their
main guy. If they're spending 150 mil on Palmer, they don't care about what happens.
Yeah, but he's the player of the year last year. He's their main guy.
But you get what I'm saying, Henry? If they're willing to commit 150M to Palmer, they don't care about Foden.
Wait, but you could have both in the same team. You could play Palmer in the 10. You could have Foden on the right, and then you could play Savio on the left. Like you don't have to get rid of them.
Will, it's more than that. He's one of their own. Won them league titles. The sentiment factor then comes into it. They'll accommodate both of them. 100%.
Yeah. Like they can both play together. They can both play together.
Chelsea are not selling this guy. Let's just that there is absolutely no chance, even for £200 million.
That's not the question.
But I do agree with you though, Henry. Like Chelsea, you can't sell him. I mean, you signed him to that death row contract for a reason, bro. Like 10 years, you kidding me? Like you'd have to offer. I think for Chelsea to consider selling Cole Palmer next summer, you would have to offer them something close to maybe what Neymar went for, like 200 plus. Because he's the face of that project. Like if you're Chelsea, and if you sell Cole Palmer, what you have going for you is over now.
Do you know what comes into this as well? I don't even think the player himself want to leave because there's a sense of pride. He's like, hold on, you lot wanted to loan me out, and now you want to buy me back literally a year or two later. I don't think there's no way Chelsea sell him. Some people might say the Champions League. I think they get Champions League, by the way, but some people might say, if they don't get Champions League, he may want to go back. Chelsea in the driving seat here, and this is where the death row contracts are beneficial because they could just write what they want for him, and City will have to pay up.
No, but Rom,
you see, hold on, you see, this is 2024, Rom. Like players don't care about all this loyalty and pride and all that now. Like 15 years ago, give me the money. If Chelsea accept the bid, he's going, bro. He's going.
So do you know what I was going to say? This is. I don't think. Look, there's some people, there are some, that's who isn't here. CB was meant to be. I knew there's somebody else meant to be, a Chelsea fan, CB. There are some Chelsea fans who think that Clear Lake are only there for money and they're buying these really talented young players to flip them for a profit, whether they're out on loan or in the first team. So that's a question that can be answered if this bid comes in. The only way, though, I see Palmer pushing to leave is if they don't give Palmer a pay increase that matches his desirability, in the sense of if you've got cities that are saying we are replacing KDB, one of the greatest central midfielders in Premier League history, that's who we're bidding to replace him with. That's a 250, 300, 400,000 pound a year salary. If I'm an agent and you're saying my club wants to buy your player, your client, to replace KDB, I'm saying, right, well, it means you think he's that level. It means you're paying him similar sort of money. So this is where Chelsea's wage structure is going to get tested. And it's why I find it such an intriguing deal. I don't think it will happen this summer, but there are elements here where if Cole Palmer's head is turned, it doesn't matter how long his contract is. If a player doesn't want to remain at a football club for one reason or another, it's difficult to keep them. It's all about what City would be prepared to pay him in salary. And then if Palmer says, well, Chelsea, look, they're offering me 350, 400 grand a week plus bonuses, match it. It's whether Chelsea are willing to break their pay structure. Now, some Chelsea fans believe they will. I don't see why they wouldn't. I think they'd be absolutely... You are not a team that's trying to win the Premier League if you're selling Cole Palmer after a year or two. Because I do think he is phenomenal. But it was an interesting story for me because there's been a lot of focus on Palmer the last few days. And I saw it and thought to myself, I saw it just on a few Chelsea, a few City accounts, like aggregator accounts, kind of put it out. And I just thought that'd be such an interesting saga. And a City fan here says, Terry Pep never signs a player he sold. But again, a lot of City fans think, and Big Steve sent this to me, a lot of them think Pep might go at the end of the season, my friend.
What about City?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, he signed Gundogan.
He went on a free, though. Yeah, that's right. Though, to be fair. He did still leave, though. He could have re-signed. He left.
Yeah, but then didn't he not re-sign because the contract terms weren't they weren't agreeable. He wanted 3 years and they were only willing to offer a year or two.
Who signed him? I mean, yeah, look, I do get what he's saying, but at the end of the day, though, the one thing I'd say about Pep and Man City is how many players that play in Palmer's position in the world are one better, and if he's available, this is, and they could get him, who's actually better than him in reality that they could get. How many players really?
Well,
other than Bruno Fernandes, who is there?
I think what makes this one weird though is, sorry to cut you, George, is Pep doesn't usually make mistakes. For me, I look at this as a mistake, but I also think something deeper lying must have happened for him to sell Cole Palmer, because the talent was there. You see him every day in training. You know what a good footballer he is, and to bring in Doku as his replacement, and again, no disrespect to Doku, but he's not on Palmer's level. Something must have happened between them two. Because it's not often Pep sells a player.
Apparently, Palmer wanted to go on loan into Germany this season, but Pep was like, "If you're going, you got to go. Like, we're not doing the loan thing." He's like,
"That's weird, though."
All right, that's what I heard. Apparently,
but I don't think Pep and anybody at City thought Cole Palmer was going to be what he is right now. And I think if he stayed. If he stayed at Man City, he's not the player that we're seeing right now. Because
we didn't see this sort of Palmer. We didn't.
Yeah,
so they did. Though. Remember, they see him every day.
No, yeah, but then
I don't think they would. He would have played in the conditions at Man City to even allow him to become this player. I feel like the conditions at Chelsea, with them being so bad, with him being able to, and Pochettino, to be honest, just go into him and be like, "Bro, take this team and make it your own." Literally. Give the ball to Palmer and make plays. I feel like he was forced to, but not forced, but he got the opportunity to shine and he took it and he made himself become that player. But I don't feel like at any other club, I don't think he becomes what he became at Chelsea and gain that confidence the way he did.
And unless you're Messi, Pep's not going to empower you like that to give you the freedom to express yourself like Palmer needed. So I think
there is an element of that as well.
He actually did. Before he got his Achilles injury, he'll come on the end of Champions League game. I know, albeit it might be game week 5 or 6, he'll come in and get the odd goal. I think Community Shield just before he left, he scored. There was a few Carabao Cup games. He come into the fold and he did well. City fans will tell you. Then he got that Achilles injury and that was it. That's when players start to come through.
We've seen as much of him at City as we've seen with Oscar Bob. That's sort of like now we've seen that little bit of him. Not enough to know if he's going to blow up. And if he made a move now and blew up, no one could say they saw this happening. They think he was a good player, but Palmer's really just took everyone by mistake.
And the thing is, like, when the deal first happened, I thought Chelsea paid too much. Because I've said 40 million, and he's basically just a kid from the academy that's been kind of getting like
1 out of 1,000 things Son got right. 1 out of 1,000 things.
Yeah, I mean, look, like it looks like a steal now, but in hindsight, I don't even think that City regrets selling him. I mean, they sold him and then they still went on to win the league and stuff. So yes, they obviously, if they go buy him back, then I mean, then they regret it. But I don't really think that they're missing Cole Palmer as much as people may want to force that narrative.
It's an interesting. Do you know what I think it comes down? I think his ability was always there. Almost one thing you can't kind of predict is the outputs this man had. Because even Chelsea fans like Don, and I use Don as an example because he's regular on the Terrace, stated he'd be a hit. But unless somebody's seen it and I haven't, send me the video footage. Nobody was talking about a player that in his first 39 games for the club was going to have 42 GA. And do you get where I'm coming from? There's that he'll be a hit. but nobody was talking about the level of consistency, the level of goals, the level of creation from this man. And by the way, I don't want to hear take away penalties or take away free kicks because, as I said on my show this morning, we can do that about any. I said it about you boys all like F1?
Yeah.
Imagine this was do you ever get this analysis in F1? I know Lewis Hamilton's good, right? But if you take away his reflexes and his driving license and add 30 pounds of weight on him, would he still be the same driver?
If take away the car. If
you took away Floyd Mayweather's ability to bob and weave, to defend, to counterpunch, and maintain his fitness, would he really be the Floyd Mayweather we know today? Why do we do that in football? It's the only sport where we take away genuine bona fide attributes of a player that they're really good at and go, without all the things he's good at, how good is he really? It's very weird what we do.
Do you know what's crazy?
It's the stat world that we're in right now. Everyone wants stats, so they misuse them. I remember growing up, and I don't remember ever asking, other than strikers, what's the GA of anything? I never used to ask those questions.
And do you know what else? Do you know why the penalty, especially the free kick thing, that's alien because you have to be skilled to score a free kick in the first place anyway. But why the penalty thing will never make sense to me is you can miss them. It's not like it's guaranteed to go in. You can miss penalties. We've seen some of the best players in the highest pressured moments miss penalties. So when people say, "Oh, he just scores penalties," that I've always thought that was a load of rubbish.
It's crazy. My favorite one at the moment is people that don't want to count assists from corners. They're like, well, being good at corners shouldn't be considered an assist.
I did that just to wind up Arsenal fans of Saka. That's the only reason I did that. I didn't generally mean it.
No, but again, doing it as a joke is one thing, but some people mean it. And I sit there and think about like Gerrard and Beckham and these players who were just elite at that. Imagine taking that attribute away from someone. Like, it's genuinely, crossing is such an important component. Free kicks are, penalties are, but there we go.